Hello, can you tell me, do you have a listing for a telephone number for a library in Holborn? I asked the telephone operator. Do you mean the British Library? She asked. I only have a telephone listing for a library in Holborn that's part of the British Library. Oh. I nearly dropped the phone. Not only was there a library in Holborn, but it was one of the most prestigious libraries in Britain. I took the address from the operator and drove there early one Saturday morning in February. On walking into reception, I half expected to be laughed out of the building. I didn't have a clue about what qualifications you needed to be an admiral in the French Navy, and the combination of naval duties with higher mathematics seemed odd, even improbable. If the whole thing struck me as dubious, what would a stranger think of it? Nevertheless, once inside the library, I went to the reception desk attended by a scruffy matronly woman. What would she be likely to know about French admirals and mathematics? I caught myself mentally and judgmentally assassinating her. You judge a book by its cover at your own peril, Swami Shivananda had scolded me in India. You have to look beneath the surface to discover diamonds. It's no different with people. I let go of my arrogance before speaking to the receptionist. We've relocated several sections there now, including maths and science. It's just 10 minutes away. Not sure if I was being sent on a wild goose chase, I made my way to the address the receptionist had given me. After all, except for my ego, what did I have to lose? On arriving at the Euston Road site, I followed the signs to the reading room containing books on mathematics. I asked the Afro-Caribbean lady at the information desk if she could tell me how to go about finding information about a French admiral who had an interest in mathematics and whose name began with the letter J. She peered at me over the rim of her reading glasses as if to make out whether I was one of the daily fruitcakes that walked through the library doors or just a sad geek with nothing better to do with her life. She said in a laboured way, as if she had made up her mind that I was a few clowns short of a circus. Then turning to look over her shoulder, she said, Colin, here's another one for you. She might as well have announced it to the library over a loudspeaker. Hello everyone, check out today's fruitcake in the house. I cringed with embarrassment and just wanted to crawl under the desk of hers and hide until lights out. A stubby man with thinning hair appeared from behind one of the tall bookshelves. Colin glared at me through his jam-jar glasses. He seemed to be inspecting me for signs of insanity, like he was used to being harassed and hassled by people asking for information about little green men in red helmets or giant jellyfish with orange bottoms. How can I help you? He asked, somewhat peevishly. I just wanted to leg it out of the door. Is there anything more humiliating than being thought of by others as ridiculous? This is a good time to stand firm and trust yourself, especially in the face of cynicism. I became aware of the gentle counsel of my inner diamond and felt calm again. Trust yourself, especially when no one else will. I'm looking for information about a French admiral who was into mathematics. His name begins with a J. Can you help? I asked confidently, calmly. To my surprise, Colin's stance changed instantly. His face lit up as he came alive like a nerd in an Apple Mac store. Yes, I think I know who you're looking for. A little-known, interesting chap. Don't ask me his name. I can't remember it for the life of me. With a spring in his step, he led me across the mezzanine and into the huge room with tall ceilings. It was as if he got a real kick from helping genuine researchers find the obscurest information. I walked behind him, taking in the grandeur of the room. The wooden bookshelves were stacked to the ceilings with dusty old books, some leather-bound and others that looked more modern with hardback covers. Dust particles danced in the beams of light. The room was hazy, timeless. Despite trying to walk carefully, my every step sounded thunderous. What I really wanted to do was to run across the floor because the suspense and excitement now unbearable, and I could not contain myself. I yearned to browse the bookshelves, to touch and savor the sensation of holding these rare volumes in my hands. You'll have to climb up that ladder there, Colin pointed to the second row. That's where the J section of the old mathematics starts. He then gave me a nod and turned to go. I was alone now, nervous with anticipation. I was so close to solving the enigma. Who was this admiral? The question ran like a loop in my mind. At the same time, the monkeys had come fully alive, jibing at me so loudly that I looked around to see if anyone else could hear them. What the hell do you think you're doing here? You don't even know what you're looking for. You're just a girl with an overactive imagination. You're going to feel so foolish when you get up that ladder. And then what? How are you going to find this fancy man of yours, this admiral, out of the hundreds of books? You don't even know what you're looking for. All you've got to work with are the musings of your so-called inner diamond. And if you do find this admiral, how will you know he's the right one? I climbed up the wooden stepladder, rung by rung, and it creaked loudly like the floors, shattering a perfect pin-drop silence. I was sure that any second now Colin was going to come back and give me my marching orders for disturbing the peace. The climb was short, but it felt like it lasted forever. I could hear my heart pounding and wondered if the other readers in the room or the librarians beyond could hear it too. Lined up in front of me was row upon row of books on mathematics. Where to begin? Everything I knew about mathematics could fit on a grain of rice. I paused for a moment, wondering how to find my personal needle in this impersonal haystack. I noticed that my mind monkeys were less agitated now, and I heard a little whisper. It was my inner diamond again. Just let your hand do the choosing. I did exactly that, and let my hand scan the hardback volumes of these old books. Some bound in leather, others in cotton or linen dyed in red, navy, bottle green or black. My hand scanned the spines, at first without any preference, but then I felt my hand compelled to pull out a somewhat dusty book covered in dark blue cotton, embossed with gold letters. I tried to focus, but the letters on the cover seemed as if they were dancing in front of my eyes. What the hell? I opened the book at random. I looked at the 2 pages now open in front of me and saw the words, Biography of Ernst Jean-Philippe Fouque de Jonquière. And there he was, an old-style etched portrait of him dressed in his naval garb. Intrigued, I read on and discovered that Ernst de Jonquière had been a naval officer who had reached the high rank of vice admiral in the French Navy in the 19th century. He was passionately interested in mathematical research and had become a pupil of one of the most prominent mathematicians of the time, Michel Floréal-Chazal, who was working on a treatise on geometry. Jonquière continued his naval duties, voyaging to Indochina and other remote places, but he utilized his spare time to solve mathematical problems presented by Chazal. He went on to study all kinds of geometry, discovering new solutions to geometric problems and developing the work of earlier mathematicians. I was beyond amazed. I was stunned. My inner diamond had taken me so far on my journey of discovery. Its instructions had been accurate, its guidance unerring. I had begun this search, confused and more than a little skeptical, but it had led me to the exact person I'd sought. After all, there couldn't have been too many admirals in the French Navy who rose to such ranks or such heights in the specific field of geometry. But still, what did all this have to do with me and my mandalas? How was this man, long dead, relevant to me all my life?